Oh yeah, it's claptrap time!
Speed, on speed. Fuck him in that. Fuck him in the speed and put it. Fuck him in that.
Hello, Crusher, and happy freaking Hump Day, guys. Hope you're having a wonderful day today. Welcome to the Humpday Help stream. We're going to be covering all kinds of things, audio, everything from microphones to mixers to setting it up in OBS to testing it, every little thing that you can do with it to get your stream working just right and sounding perfect. Because we all know that tons of people are going to be stopping into your stream, but they can't focus their full attention to it. It's like having the TV in the background. They're trying to work on the TPS report or whatever else they're working on.
Subscriber!
What?
Subscriber!
Ogre from Hell coming in.
How will everybody's heard about
These guys are going crazy. Bird. Bird is a word. Holy crap! Right off the bat, you guys coming in. Freaking insane. Ogre from Hell, thank you so much for that 3 months. You know how it goes. Lettuce, cheese, or dirty sock. What do you want to see on that sub? But let's continue. Rounds for the house coming in from Mystical May as well. So we're going to be talking about everything and anything audio. You guys, enough. I'm going to cancel all these things in the background. Ease up. Cheese it is. Let's get some cheese on that sub so we can talk a bit here. Cheese as always. How's it going, guys? Welcome to the stream. So like I said, we're going to be talking about audio. We're going to be talking about audio sources, how to set it up in your stream, because as you guys all know, not everyone can pay attention to your stream 100% of the time, but they can listen to it. They can't watch it the whole time, but as they're working on their TPS report, they're going to be listening, and the last thing you want is you sounding like a captain.
Where are they dancing?
Like a captain in a plane taking off, right? This is your captain speaking, and you get all kinds of weird distortion going on, anything like that. People are gonna generally not appreciate that. So, or if you have your microphone cranked up way too high, and you get that really bad distortion, right? Just absolutely terrible. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna try to help you guys figure out how to solve those issues, move forward with that. And yes, we are listening to Pink Fluffy Unicorns Dancing on Rainbows at the moment. Claptrap. Okay, I'll give you guys a minute or two of claptrap here.
Those windmills will keep them cool.
Windmills do not work that way!
And guest mix coming in. Yes, we're getting an overload of everything. Windmills do not work that way. There we go. That's it for unicorns. Okay, guys, so we're gonna talk a little bit like claptrap.
Misfit Bear, how's it going? So we're gonna be talking about microphones first. What you're gonna be looking for, what might best suit you, and all of your options. So there are generally 3 ways to hook up to your computer, the 3 major ways. 1, use a 3.5mm jack, just a regular headphone port that iPhones don't have anymore. 2, using a USB mic, like a Snowball or a Yeti or something like that. Or 3, using a mixer and an XLR mic. XLR being that connection, that circular connection with the 3 pins in it.
That's enough of that. Hey, Misfit Bear, how are you? So, let's open this up right now. We're going to look here. We're going to look at the actual physical connections. So we have, let's just go Best Buy. We're going to look at all these. Super Soaker, how are you? We're going to look at all the different microphones you can get.
What is better?
What is better? It is indeed. So there's a bunch of different microphones. I mean, this right here, Yeti, is a very popular one. Snowball is a very popular one. And like I said, you get in your big box store. Different color variants as well. You get XLR microphones. You get 3.5mm microphones, so those are the 1/8 jacks, right? Roughly 1/8 jack. See if I can find one of them. They're not selling any of them. There we go. Here's one. So you will get different qualities, different prices, and whatnot. Here it is, right here. A regular microphone jack, right there. You can plug that into your computer, use it just like that. Generally, you're not going to get the same kind of quality or control out of this style of mic, but they are quite a bit cheaper usually. Yeah, Blue Yeti is a very popular and a very good one. It is a very good sounding mic. But we'll start from what I consider to be kind of the bottom of the pile and work our way up. So there's the standard microphone that has just this connector. You also have your headset mic, but let's be honest, most headset mics are not designed for broadcast. They're designed for communication between you and your teammates, and so you're not going to get the full range. You're not going to get the best quality out of them, right? It's good enough for getting information through in a quick game, something like that, but actually making it sound good is something else that they don't really worry about. So with that, I mean, there's nothing wrong with starting out with a headset and whatnot, or using the headset, but consider maybe upgrading if you are just using a headset, because as you know, if you raise your voice at all, anything like that, you are going to get distortion right away with a gaming headset. This would be the next step, just a 3.5mm jack, but like I said, you're going to get issues with control and whatnot. Next up the line, you're going to have things like the Snowball. The Snowball is an excellent starter mic. I actually used this one for about a year. And this one works extremely well. You can mount it on an arm as well. But it does come with a built-in stand. Very, very good mic. I mean, the range isn't super great, but it is a really good starter mic. Up from there, and this is a USB one, so this just plugs into your USB port. The thing about that is there's no on or off switch. It's just you plug it in and you go, and that's all there is to it. Then you get into things like the Yeti that have quite a few more features, right? You have a volume knob, you have a mute right on it. It's USB again. There we go, Shank Show coming in. Thank you so much for that, host. Shank, you are absolutely amazing. And also the Lightning, Mystical May, and thank you for the host. And Prox, thank you for that follow. So Mystical May uses a Blue Yeti here. Tons of people actually use a Blue Yeti. It is really good sound, but it is huge. It is a huge mic. It takes up a lot of space on your desk. Let's see. You have the Toner Super Soaker. Let's see if we can find that. Which microphone would that be? Microphone and accessory. There are quite a few options here. Yeah, actually, Toner has quite a few options. But you can see all the different types. You know, regular headset. There's an XLR to 3.5mm. And then we get into, you know, the more expensive ones with full mixers and whatnot. And what's that one? Rode. Then you get the really higher end ones, like the Rode NT1 here. A really, really beautiful microphone, awesome sound. But they're more professional recording, stuff like that, right? But you will get amazing sound quality out of them. If you look at their let's see here, their specs they might have the chart here, but you get into an Xlr connection. And what the Xlr connection is the more professional connection. It is, like I was talking about, the round connection with the 3 pins in it, and it's meant to hook up to a mixer. So you'll need some kind of interface. Either you'll need an interface or a mixer, something like that, to use one of these microphones. Fiery Latina, thank you so much for that follow. Your 32,000 kinds of awesome Super Soaker. Thank you so much for that, host. But yeah, so XLR connections, you'll need some kind of, I'm sure you've seen this in movies or wherever else, or at some point in your life, the DJ at your brother's wedding or something like that had this kind of cable maybe. But this is an XLR connection. You'll need some kind of interface for it to work with your computer. Now, the upside to this is anything integrated in your computer with a regular jack, that's going to have a little bit of noise. Naturally, it's going to have noise from internal components in your computer. So what lots of people do is they'll get an external sound card or something like that. If you get an interface on the outside or a mixer or something like that, especially if you get a mixer, that acts as an external sound card, removing it so that you don't have all the internal noise of the computer making it into your headset, making it into your stream, making it into your mic, into your sound in general. So there's a lot to be said for that. You're going to get much better sound quality using a mixer and whatnot, but you also get the ability to mix different channels on the fly. Like the music right here, I can turn that up and down nice and easily. Of course, with my mic, I can turn the mic volume up and down. I can turn desktop volume up and down. I can turn game volume up and down, depending on how I route it all. We'll get into how to route your audio for free later in the stream as well. A tool that I use to route it to all different channels, because as it stands, if you have a mixer, most computers now, they have a headphone jack on the front and the back, just by default. So you have 2 ports you can use there, and if you get the mixer, you have the 3rd port. So that's 3 channels you can balance out of your computer. So for me, that works out to be music, just general desktop audio, and then the 3rd one I use for whatever. Sometimes I'll use it for Discord if I have party chat, and I can control the volume very easily of everyone in the chat instead of having to alt-tab into Discord. Or if there's one game in particular that's very noisy, or if I have YouTube tabs going on in the background, or we're watching YouTube and I want to control each video without sliders, that kind of thing. It makes it a lot easier to control on the fly. 1 sec. Coffee time. So now that we talked about the microphone, the types of microphones or types of connections for microphones, there are different types of microphones as well. So, let's bring this up here. Wrong one. So there's all different kinds of microphones that you can. As I was talking about, there's different connections as well. And generally, when you get something like an Xlr connection, it's gonna be a powered connection that's gonna give extra voltage to the microphone. And it's going to give you a lot more frequency response from the lows to the highs, and it's just going to give a more natural sound versus a microphone that's just running off a 3.5 millimeter jack or off of USB. USB, you can't quite get that same power, right? I'm trying to find out here. There we go. Condenser. So you have condenser mics are extremely popular. Most of the microphones that you're gonna run across are going to be condenser mics anyways, and then you're going to have different patterns as well. You're going to have ones where they have 360 range. They're going to have front facing. I can never pronounce a word. Cardioid mic. There it is right there. So a cardioid mic, it makes kind of a heart pattern. Thank you so much for that follow. 0096 and the mighty Captain Frost coming in with that host. Thank you so much for that host, buddy. So they have different patterns, and I'll show you what it looks like. So one thing you want to watch for is what style, what type of microphone. Like we were talking about here, you have, like I said, condenser microphones are usually the most popular ones that are used. USB microphones here as well. Microphone frequency charts. That's a really good thing to go over as well here. What you want to try to do is you want to try to find something that has a very nice and even frequency chart. If you're looking into recording, and then you can and recording, broadcasting, whatnot, then you can adjust it separately on your mixer, either in voice meter or on your mixer, and it gives you an excellent starting point. Great hype! Thank you so much, Captain Frost. How are you, buddy? Did I say Fall or Frost? Captain Frost, how are you, buddy? Welcome to the stream. And then we're going to get into the types. There's cardioid, supercardioid, hypercardioid, and what it all means here. It's basically where it picks up the sound on the microphone. So if you guys can see right here, cardioid, and this is what you'll find in most of the mics that you're going to be looking at here. They have pretty much kind of a heart shape, right? And this is the pattern. So right here is the front of the microphone, and it picks up most everything directly in front. But as soon as you move to the sides, you start losing out. Now, this is really good for broadcasting because it's going to start cutting out all the sounds to the side. It's going to pick up just what's right in front of the mic. So if you aim the mic at you, you're going to get the best sound, and you're not going to worry about sound over here. I mean, right now I'm snapping my fingers behind the mic, the same distance around the mic, and it's only picking it up really well when we go in front of the mic. Same distance away all the way around. We're talking about audio in general today, Captain Frost. How are you, buddy? We're talking about audio in general today, and just we're starting out with microphones and what you can use, what you can get, your options, what they all mean. Now, if you're doing kind of a podcast thing and you're sitting across the table or you're sitting next to someone and you want to pick them up as well with one microphone. One, you could use an omnidirectional or a figure eight. But just remember that you're going to have to, if you're only broadcasting solo at some point, you're going to have to do something to cut that room noise out, because especially with an omnidirectional, you're going to pick up everything all the way around. So yes, it's going to be great for a roundtable discussion, or if you have people with you around the microphone. But if it goes down to just you, because you're not always broadcasting with people or something like that, what you'll have to get is you'll have to make a little sound box with some soundproof material for when you don't have that, slip it over the microphone so that you're only getting the sound from you, not from the rest of your room. So those are the different patterns right there for the microphone as well. Come on. Get more into diaphragms, you guys can get into that, but we basically cover the basics of microphones. And one thing we're going to get into now are mixers and how to use them with the XLR microphones. Like I said, the XLR ones are generally the higher end microphones. They can be in the $100 range. They can be into thousands of dollars, depending what you're looking for, right? Emac, how are you, buddy? But the last thing you want to do is buy a really nice XLR microphone and then buy a mixer that's not compatible with it. So there's something with XLR microphones called phantom power, where they're powered with 48 volts, right? And you have to be careful. Some mixers and some microphones don't require phantom power. Some XLR microphones don't require it. Some do. And if you hook up a mixer that doesn't have phantom power to a microphone that does require it, or if you have underpowered phantom power, you're not going to get the full frequency response range out of the microphone, and you're going to wind up with distortion of the top end and bottom end most of the time. Yeah, and I mean, a Blue Yeti works extremely well for so many people. It does sound damn good for a USB microphone. It does sound really good, and you do have some options. Lots of popular XLR microphones actually come in the USB option. For example, the AT2020 is a very good quality microphone. I mean, it's not a perfect microphone, but it's a very good one. It's the one that I use, and it sounds extremely good. Jwags 412, thank you so much for that follow. You 32 kinds of awesome. So the AT2020 here is an example of what you can get in. This AT2020 can come in both XLR and USB. Let's see here. Let's go Amazon. We're going to go AT2020. Yeah, you can tell I've been looking up audio stuff, right? Audio 2020. We'll go Audio 2020 USB. And you're going to have a little bit of a price difference here. But you have to keep in mind you need to get a mixer with the XLR. Emac. Hell, once I got my audio on OBS, stop popping, I could do PS4 remote play. And we are going to get into OBS audio in a few minutes here. We're just going to talk about the microphones, and we're going to talk about the software end of things. I just slid you a DM on Discord as a mute tab has been changed to mute, and I said it how it can be fixed, so you might be wanting to help the viewers. Okay, yeah, well, there's tons of announcements about that. At this point, we're going to do it as a broadcaster's point of view, not a viewer's point of view, because we don't have enough time to cover everything. Malvor, how are you? Angel of Death, how are you? Welcome to the stream. So, like I said, the humbucker's here. So you have a couple options right here with the Audio-Technica. You have the XLR version. Now you look at this. The XLR version is $139 Canadian versus $207 USB. So you're thinking, okay, well, I'll get the XLR mark and get a cheap mixer. The cheap mixer is still going to put you over the price range of the USB. USB right here You have a monitor on it. You have the headphones. Everything works beautifully. You basically have a built-in mixer. Well, not a built-in mixer, but built-in monitor. It works extremely well. So if you want a really good quality sounding mic, I would recommend you guys get the AT2020. It's what I use, and if you guys come to my regular streams, you know that I get really quiet and extremely loud, and we don't have any issues capturing all of that. So with that said, we do also have to look into, if you're using an XLR mic, you have to look into mixers. Now, there are tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of brands and options out there, guys. Just with that, I'm not going to tell you which mixer to get. Like, I have personal experience with the AT2020 and with the Rode and whatnot, and I know they're high quality mics. I know they are, and I will vouch for them. As for mixers, there are so many options. The one that I use is the Yamaha MG10XU, which is an amazing, absolutely amazing mixer as well. And I used to have the Behringer Q302 USB, but that one was kind of an interim one that had underpowered phantom voltage, so you could hear that in the microphone. The quality wasn't quite as good. But generally what you want to look for is you want to make sure that you get phantom power that you need for your microphone. If your microphone requires full phantom power, try to get one that delivers full phantom power. If you look at the 3-input and 5-input Behringer mixers, they only give 15-volt phantom power instead of 48. So you're kind of underpowering your mic, not necessarily going to damage it, but you're not going to get the quality that you paid for on the mic. You may as well have gotten a cheap mic, because you're not going to get that quality. And other options you can look for on the mixer. I mean, of course, you want to be able to balance right here on, for example, my mixer. I'll talk about the one that I have because I know how mine works and whatnot. Highs, mids, and lows, of course, you can adjust that. Some of them come with effects. Like mine here has different effects, so I can just
Turn this on and adjust the pitch. And you can swing it around and...
all of a sudden, you have reverb, all kinds of different things, right? So you'll hear lots of time I'll use effects in my streams, and it's coming all right from the mixer right here. You also have pan left or right. You can have an effects pedal. You can adjust the levels of each thing separately. So right here on the left is the microphone. So that's where my microphone's plugged in. I have the USB line right here. Line and balance. Where is it right now? Let's open this up full size. Right here. This line, which is 9 and 10, turns out to be the USB input. So you have the USB cable coming in, and I have my music set to that dial. Then right here, left and right, I have this set as my desktop audio, and this is my mic. And then this is my other audio, whatever I use from my other jack. And then I have all these other options as well. So when you're looking for it, try it, like I said, do your research, do your own research, find a mixer that meets your needs. Just keep in mind the really big thing is that you have that phantom power if you need it. Right there, this one has plus 48 volt phantom power. Go! I think that's enough about the external stuff. Let's talk about the internal stuff and how to route it all. Now, if you are using a mixer, let's quickly talk about how you route different outputs on your computer to different channels on the mixer. So right here, you can see here, I have a program called Audio Router. This is completely free on GitHub. And it works amazingly well. The only thing is, if you guys are going to use Audio Router to route different audio, different programs to different outputs on your computer, do it all before you open OBS. OBS doesn't like you routing audio once you have it open. So route everything how you want to route it first, and then open up OBS. So you can see here, this is my default audio device, which is this one here, Mixer Fixed. It's one and the same, they just have it labeled differently. So if I change my default audio device down here, it's going to change this, and all of these will be attached to that default audio device. But you can see here, I have Steam, Discord, Chatbot, everything here. They're all going to the default audio device. And then I've changed it so Spotify goes to my USB connection on my mixer. So these all here go to that red and white wire. That's why I have it labeled like that on my mixer. This goes to my USB plug on my mixer, USB port on the mixer, so I can control that separately. And I have the option for another front port on my computer to go in and adjust that separately as well. But all you have to do is choose what program you want, route it, and then choose what audio source you want it to go to. Hit OK, and it gets sent over to that audio source. Really, really, really easy to use. AJN Gaming, how are you, buddy? Welcome to the stream. So, now we're going to talk about OBS itself, because we are a little bit behind. We're going to talk about OBS itself and setting up your audio sources in OBS. So, before we go any further, any questions about what I've talked about so far? Any clarifications, any comments you want to add, anything like that? Ben Raging, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. So, yeah, any questions at all about what we covered so far? Microphones, mixers, the external stuff. Any questions about that? We can kind of go over that a little bit before switching over to the software end of things, more of the software end of things, and specifically setting up an OBS. We'll get this dragged over here, drag it over. Look at that crash right there. So, look at that. I have all this going on. I have the music, I have the desktop audio, I have my mic, everything, and only one input going right there. What's going on there? Well, when you have... It will help once I get OBS working. That would be a good thing. That would be a good thing. The way I have mine set up is all of my audio that I have for the stream, every single bit of it, goes through my audio, goes through my mixer. And then it gets all sent through one channel or one source back into OBS. So what you see happening right here, this is one source. This is just one source coming in. It's nice and easy to control. I put my limiter on it, everything like that. And this is for the mixer. Not everyone will have the same thing. But let's talk about audio sources to begin with here. So in audio, if you go into the settings and audio tab on OBS here, make sure everything's clear. Yep. You're going to have a few options here. Now you see here, desktop audio device. You have different devices, auxiliary devices, meter decay rate. We'll talk about that. That's not really something you need. This is more of a personal preference thing. So sample rate, you have 44.1 kilohertz or 48 kilohertz. The frequency, the sample rate, the higher is generally quite good, but I keep everything at 44.1. That's kind of the standard. Channels in OBS now, you can actually run up to 7.1 surround sound, which is absolutely amazeballs. Just keep in mind that Twitch supports surround sound, but YouTube doesn't. And YouTube doesn't stereo down mix either. YouTube will only take the left and right channels and use them for stereo. So if you have your voice set to the center channel, you're going to have some issues with people hearing you because it's only going to be showing, it's only going to be using the left and right channel on YouTube. So for now, unless you're streaming exclusively to Twitch, which I mean many of us are, I'd keep it on stereo. But if you do want to stream in 7.1 or 5.1, you want to stream in surround sound, remember that your hardware needs to support it. Like for me, I use my mixer. It's a stereo mixer. I have a stereo input, stereo output. So there's no point in me trying to stream surround sound because, excuse me, all game audio is still routed through my mixer and it's in stereo anyways. And I don't have a setup in my computer for, I don't have the hardware for surround sound as it stands. Your boob voice settings are lame. Shush, humbucker. Ah! Just happy to see you guys, humbucker. Just happy to see you. Misfit Bear, so you're wondering which type of mic to get. It boils down on what you want to, on what you want to achieve. I mean, for most people, a USB mic will be, plenty good. Like I said, the most popular ones are generally the most popular mics to get are the Blue Snowball Ice, or the Blue Snowball, the Blue Yeti, and the AT2020 USB. Those are the most popular and common microphones to get for streaming. It's they're reliable and they just work. Now, the AT2020 generally will have a little bit better sound, in my opinion, but sound is a real personal preference thing. AT2020 and the Blue Yeti are going to be around the same quality. The Blue Yeti is massive compared to the AT2020. And then the Blue Snowball is a very, very cheap option, but it's not cheap as in bad quality. It's cheap as in it's really budget friendly. But it's more of a tinny mic. You're not going to get the bass. You're not going to get the low end. You're going to get the mids and the highs when you're speaking, but you're not really going to get the low ends. So with me, I used the Blue Yeti for, like I said, the Blue Snowball for about a year, and it worked really well for me. But then I wanted to upgrade. I wanted a better sounding stream. I wound up going, full XLR, everything like that. Not everyone's going to go there. There's partner streamers that still use headsets. So, I think one thing to keep in mind is, yes, we're looking at partnered streamers that are still using headsets and partnered streamers that have super shitty audio and stuff like that. But remember, lots of these partnered streamers, lots of them did get in to the partnership program before the massive flood. I mean, there's a huge flood. There's tons and tons and tons of people trying to get in, more than there were, say, 3, 4, 5 years ago, right? It was much easier to get in before. Ducky and I have snowballs. Yeah, and snowballs, they work fine. They do. They do work quite well. The Cardioid. I know the best path to take is what I mean. Okay. Okay, good. Anyways, so we'll get into the audio here on in OBS. So what you see here in the audio tab, these are global sources, and there's 2 ways to set this up. You can have an audio source as a global source, so it carries through on every single scene, or a scene-specific source that you add as a source. So for me, since I use a mixer and everything's routed through my mixer, I have it set to a global source, so it's always on. My intro music that's played through OBS, that goes to my mixer. I adjust the volumes in that, and then it's pumped back into OBS. Everything is through my mixer, so I have it as a global source. But say, thank you so much for the follow, Ben Raging. You are 32 kinds of awesome, just like Bob Ross. So if you guys say have a scene, your intro scene, say you don't want your microphone active during your intro scene, you only want it active during your broadcast scene, not on your intro, not on your outro, but you only want it active during very specific scenes. Do not put it as a global source. What you can do instead is add it as a source in here. So you go here, audio input capture, and you can choose, you can create a new audio input capture. Right here I can go, okay, there's a Blue Snowball. So I'm going to mute stream everything else that's coming from my mixer. So right now, there's nothing coming from my mixer. All you're hearing right now is my Blue Snowball. So there's actually a really good example of Blue Snowball. This might be a little bit quiet right now. Let's go advanced audio properties. I need to be able to hear this. So we're going to go audio input capture. There we go. No, I can't quite hear that. I don't know. It seems very, very, very quiet. Let's crank the gain up on this. Filters, gain. So if you have your microphone turned up all the way and the slider all the way up, you can crank the gain up. Let's go up here. Test, 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 test. There we go. So you can hear the Blue Snowball right now. This is the Blue Snowball. This is how this sounds. It's really, like I said, it's a lot tinnier than I'm having a brain fart, sorry. It's a lot tinnier than the AT2020. But right here you saw how I was able to have it scene specific. Now if I switch to another scene, this microphone's not going to be on. It's only active in this scene. So if you don't want people hearing you click, click, clack, click, 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 clack as you're setting up your stream during the intro, or coughing, or whatever else you're doing when you're starting to set up your intro, you can set your audio input capture to right here. So right here, this is the Blue Snowball. Let's switch back to the regular mixer that I have, and you can hear the difference. Like it's a huge difference in sound quality right there. So that's how you can add sound sources. So you can make it so that specific game sources. If you have your iPod, here's one thing you can do. If you have your iPod, iPhone, whatever, plugged in, lots of people, they'll say, well, my computer isn't powerful enough to run iTunes and Spotify at the same time as other things. And you know what, that's understandable. A lot of people are limited to what they can use on stream, right? Or with their hardware configuration, and they have to work with what they have. Just keep in mind, guys, if you do have that issue where you can't run iTunes or you can't run Spotify in the background because it sucks too much juice out of your computer, just take your phone and plug it in, and you can get an adapter to plug it into the headphone jack. Don't just plug it direct. Well, no, you could plug in your phone directly into the headphone jack or microphone jack on your computer if you have the right cable, and just play your music from your phone into your computer, and that way your phone's taking care of the music, and you don't have to worry about your computer opening another program, music player, which for some reason they tend to take a lot more resources than they should. Anyway, so we talked about a microphone adding sources separately to each scene. Now we're going to be talking about the advanced audio properties, some filters, things like that. So advanced audio properties. So how can you make it so that when the alerts come through, you hear them in your headset? That's one thing that I get asked a lot. The alerts will show up on the screen, you don't hear it in your headset. Or if you add a video or a media source or something like that to your scene, how do you make it so that it comes into your headset so you can hear it in your headset? Because by default you can't. You add it in, you don't hear it. Well, what you have to do is you have to set up your monitor, and your monitor is exactly how it sounds. It lets you monitor everything that's going on in your stream. So first thing you want to do is go into your settings, go into advanced, and right there, your audio monitoring device. And generally you'll set that up as your default device. With me, I specifically want it to be this mixer. If I accidentally change the default audio device, the way I have my system set up is it always has to go to this. But what'll work for you guys is if you're running a default device and you're hearing everything nice and clear for your stream, you're hearing your game, you're hearing some alerts now and then, but you're not hearing the intro video and stuff like that, and you want to hear the intro video. Audio monitoring device, turn it on, usually throw it on default, and I would disable Windows audio ducking. And we'll get into audio ducking a little bit later and what that is and how that can benefit you, but also you'll see when I talk about how it can benefit you, how it can also hinder you if you leave the Windows default audio ducking left on. So right there, audio monitoring device. Just to start, guys, you can set that to default. Okay. Now when you get into here, you go, okay, well, how do I make it so that this one scene, like say this Humpday Help is a little video. Now if it had sound and I wanted to hear that sound, by default, you're going to see the bar bouncing up and down, but you're not going to hear it in your headset. So you have to go into Advanced Audio Properties, click that gear, Advanced Audio Properties, and you would go Monitor and Output. Unless you have a mixer set up, in which case you're going to run it to the monitor only, run it through your mixer, do everything you need to in your mixer and send it back. But if you just want to hear it, you don't want to adjust the levels, you don't want to run it through a mixer for adjustment at all, put it to monitor and output. You'll hear it in your headset. It'll also be plugged into the stream, and you can hear it there. So that is how you can do that, how you can take care of that, and hear all those alerts. Now, over here in the advanced audio, you can see we have different tracks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And when you're streaming to Twitch, you're limited to the one track. But say you wanted to record a video for YouTube, something like that, and you want a different audio for the YouTube YouTube video versus this, right? You can record everything in all different tracks. Come on, output. So you can go here. If you're streaming, you can choose which track it is that's sent out. Audio track 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Recording. You can in recording, if you go certain file formats, you can actually record all tracks separately. And when you go into a video editor, you can take a certain track out, put a certain track in, which is very helpful. If you have music and you don't want music things like that, right? If you want to be able to easily take your music out for YouTube videos, because it's a lot easier to broadcast music on Twitch than it is to do it on YouTube. Twitch generally is a little more lenient with the whole copyright thing. As it stands, I mean, the CrashPad music service, I had to revamp it. The musicians that let us use their music in exchange for promotion, so over in the bottom left corner of your stream there, you can see who it is at the time playing. If you're on desktop, you can scroll down, you can see who it is, you can get a link to their Spotify. Their music is fine on Twitch, never get flagged on Twitch. But I bump over to YouTube, and I had issues where some of the bands, even though they said, hey, don't flag our music, it was still getting flagged, and we were getting copyright strikes. So I had to dispute it, and I had to go through the dispute process for one of the first bands we got on that was fully on board, and they did everything right, but YouTube was still hitting it because at one point they had copyright protection on there, and so that was a pain in the ass. So just keep that in mind when you're streaming the whole music aspect. If you can get copyright safe music for Twitch, go for it. Not saying you have to use, of course, you don't have to use CrashPad Music Service. It is here for you guys if you want it. But there are tons of services out there that will offer copyright safe music to use on your streams. So we talked about so far microphones, mixers. We talked about routing audio using Audio Router. Just Google Audio Router. It's on GitHub, and it's a free program. Just keep in mind, this is a very basic program. Do one step at a time. There was actually one viewer of mine who used this program and tried doing multiple things at once and wound up crashing his driver, and he had to reinstall his driver. So do one thing at a time, route, do your routing, wait for it to happen, wait for it to finish, and then do your next step if you have to. But do it one step at a time. Like I said, it's a wonderful program. It is free, and I don't think it's in active development anymore, but it still works beautifully. So just keep that in mind. Humbucker's last saying, so if we want people not to hear us rip, we need to do this. Yes. Now let's get into the final part. Filters, how to use them, what they do. So there's all kinds of things that you can use. You can use noise gates. See, I have one here as an example. I personally do not like noise gates because, one, it doesn't work with a mixer. If you have music coming through the mixer, it's not going to work because it's you always have sound coming through. If you're only using the microphone, a noise gate can work, but I would recommend you use a VST plugin instead, and we'll get into that in a minute. What if the audio sound crackles and pops? So the Misfit Bear, is the audio sound... Is the setting different from OBS and Streamlabs OBS? Which setting is that, Knives? And just audio? From what I found in Streamlabs OBS, they have basically the same settings, but you cannot use plugins in Streamlabs OBS, which kills it for me because I use plugins. Crackling, audio sound crackles and pops. Well, in your game audio, well, before we pass on, Misfit Bear, does your game audio hit 0? So your desktop audio, does it hit 0? Thank you so much for that, host, N-Tuck. So does your desktop audio smack up and stay up at 0 the whole time? Is the setting different from OBS to the Streamlabs OBS? It's very, very close. It's very, very close, Knives. They are very similar. But Streamlabs OBS, I'm going to sneeze again. It's sneezing all morning. And that's why I love having a volume knob right there. Streamlabs OBS and regular OBS are very, very similar. Very, very similar. But Streamlabs OBS is almost a dumbed-down version, we'll say. A very simplified version. So you don't have some of the options. You don't have the plugins, VST plugins. Like I said, we're going to get into that and how VST plugins can be extremely beneficial to you. Yep. Noise gating isn't okay solution, but I'm going to show you guys an awesome solution, one that's much, much, much better than noise gating. It's sound subtraction instead. So what it does is it measures the volume, the ambient volume in the in your room, and then subtracts it from your microphone, so that you don't get the noise gate. Like right here, if I turn the music off, it should be pretty quiet in the background, even when I'm talking. If I stop talking, the thing is, if you're in a noisy room and you have a noise gate when you're talking, it's going to be nice and quiet when you stop talking. But as soon as you start talking again, all that noise is going to come in, and you still have to overpower it. So with sound subtraction, it just basically sets a bar, goes, hey, this is how loud the noise is, so we're going to ignore everything in these frequency ranges below this line, and we'll get into that in a bit. Okay, so what if the audio sound crackles and pops? And does it do it in your stream, Misfit, or does it only do it in your headset? The Lightning, do you have any tips on making self-voice better? What do you mean? In what respect, the Lightning? What are you trying to accomplish? Anyways, let's get back into this. We'll get into the filters, show you what we can use. So noise gate, that is an option if you don't want to use VST plugins, or if you can't use VST plugins because you're in Streamlabs OBS. But basically the way the noise gate is it goes, the volume has to be at least this loud before it activates. So it would be, if you look over here on the left, it would be, well, the volume has to be at least right here before we say, okay, let it through, let the sound through. And then once it drops below that, okay, we'll turn that off. And there's a closed threshold and open threshold, and this is basically the range. You want it so that on a chart, say this is your volume vertically like this. You want it so that all of a sudden it turns on once you get to this volume, but you want a little bit of a relief down below, and for it to close again. You want that a little bit lower, so you have that little bit of a range, so that it's not. You can hear on some streams when someone's talking, if they get a little bit quieter, or if they get a little bit quieter than usual, it'll cut them right out. So you want that little bit of range, that little bit of buffer on the bottom if you're using a noise gate. Attack time is how quickly it responds. Hold time is how long it stays active. And release time, how long it takes to go back to normal. So, Misfit Bear, game audio, and that's coming through your desktop audio for your game. So does that happen when you use remote play but don't stream? That's the next question. So natural voice, to be clear, that all boils down to, thank you so much for that, host Savage Rat. That all boils down to your input quality. I mean, it's going to be your microphone and stuff like that. If you're using a cheap mic, you're not going to get the same result as a higher end mic. It's just, there's a reason they're cheaper. And I know not everyone can afford it. You do the best you can with what you have. But one thing I would recommend, for me personally, I try to stay in the -6 decibel range. And that puts me inside red. And lots of people are going to say, no, don't do that. But I found that -6 decibels, if you have it so that you're at -6 decibels on your output, that is a very good range to be. You're not too loud when someone else fires up your video and whatnot. You're not too quiet. You're actually in a very, very good range. So -6 to -10, I think, is a really good range for audio to be, for your vocal audio, for your overall stream volume to be. This right here, this mixer input, I can tell you right now, it's not 100% accurate. It says I'm going up to 2 right there, but when I record it and then I throw it back into my video editor, I am sitting pretty much at the 6 mark. Once in a while I'll go up a little bit above it, but I'd never get this close to 0. Savage Rat, is it? Oh! So you get that crackling. Okay, so that isn't an OBS issue. That's a remote play issue. So when you get into remote play on there, do you have a hardwired connection? Is your computer fast enough, powerful enough to work remote play? The first thing I would try with remote play, make sure everything's updated, and then also make sure that you have a hardwired connection. So your PlayStation to your router to your computer. If you're running Wi-Fi, you're probably going to run into issues. It happens on a normal in OBS. So does it happen with your microphone? That's the main thing. If you don't have anything else going into OBS, does it happen with your microphone? Or if you play music, just try playing iTunes or Spotify or something like that, and do a practice stream with that running in the background and OBS capturing it. Let's see if it crackles, and try streaming it, and let me know, and let me know, or send me the VOD of it so I can check it out and I can kind of see what's going on. Yeah, we'll take a look at it. Yeah, so right there, the Lightning, you're using Turtle Beach 400 Stealth. Now that's a headset, if I'm not mistaken. Stealth 400. And like I said before, these headsets, the gaming headsets, they work for talking in game, but please, if you can afford it, only if you can afford it, get a dedicated broadcasting mic, guys. Get something that's better quality, because what's going to happen here is these microphones are right there. That is just, you're not going to get the quality out of it. That's all it is. They always sound like you're in a cockpit. I mean, even the high-end, the really high-end gaming mics, you still sound like you're in a cockpit. You still sound like you're in a tin can. You're not going to get the sound quality out of them that you will out of a standalone microphone. It's just, you won't. Okay, we're running out of time here, so we're going to finish up with these filters and show you what they do. So we talked about noise gate. Compressor. What does a compressor do? How does a compressor work? Well, what a compressor does is basically it sets a volume limit, an upper limit to your stream. And I think everybody should have a compressor, because lots of time when you get really, really loud, if you get excited, if you get scared or something like that, you'll hear on someone's stream and it gets all crackly and distorted. That is because the volume just cranked up way too high and they're clipping. They're having all kinds of issues. In-game only for headset, yep. Yeah, they're okay to chat on Discord. That's it. The headsets are not meant, the gaming headsets are not meant for broadcasting. They're meant for basic communication in-game, in Discord, whatever. Just basic communication. You can get the words across. It's not going to be pretty, but it's going to work. It's like a telephone if you're using a landline now. And lots of them, you're going to get the same quality as a landline. You're going to get the kind of static and whatnot, and that's perfectly fine if you're talking about picking up groceries, but it's not something you want to hear on a show, on a TV show. You don't want that quality. I mean, when someone calls in on a TV show, you can hear the interviewer talking in the regular microphone. I'd like to hear the other person on the phone, but I can't really understand what they're saying because they're talking to their phone, and so really sort of right? So that's the thing there. So that is the issue with a headset. You're not getting that quality. That's the way it is. Unless you dish out a ton of money on a really expensive headset, but at that point you may as well have gotten a decent priced headset and a good streaming mic. Okay, anyways, compressor. We're going to be talking about this. What does a compressor do? The compressor actually sets a limit for how loud you want everything to be. It sets a line. So right here, on this compressor right here, this one's not active, but I'm going to show you. So the threshold is 10 decibels. So right here, it basically draws a line in the sand, boop, boop, right there at 10. And says, as soon as the volume gets above 10, we're going to start doing our work. And the ratio is how much it squeezes it down above that line. So anything that goes above that line, it squeezes it down. And the ratio is how much it squeezes it down. So a ratio of 1 to 1 for every decibel goes louder, it goes a decibel quieter, or 1 to 1. Wait, 1 to 1. No, it just keeps it the same. It keeps it going the same. If you go a ratio of 3 to 1 of compression, it compresses it 3 times as much. So say you go up 9 decibels, so you're at minus 10 is your limit, and you go all the way up, your volume gets up to minus 1. That's a difference of 9 decibels, right? You're going to compress it at a factor of 3, which means 9 divided by 3. So you have 9 decibel difference. You're squishing it down 3 times, down to 3 decibels, which means you're only going to go up 3 steps. 1, 2, 3. You're only going to go up to minus 7 decibels. You put the compression up, the ratio up higher and higher and higher and higher and higher, and basically you take that difference, divide it by that number, and that's how much higher you're going to go above your threshold. Yeah. So all the compressor does is cut the top end off and then squeeze everything above that top end. And the higher the ratio, the more it squeezes it down. And if we were to draw it on the line here, I'll actually draw a line. Come on. We'll open it up in Affinity Photo. I'm going to take OBS and I'm actually going to move it out of my way here. So new 1920 by 1080. So, say this is your chart. Right there. And you want this to be your threshold. Right there. We're going to call that your threshold. Threshold. And we're going to say that's minus 10 dB. So say you're talking down here. Hold on 1 second here. You get your volume coming up like that, and then you go way high, and then you go back down. So, right there, at this point now, that is you're going way above your threshold. Say you're up at 0 decibels, and you wanna squeeze this down. What the compressor does is it effectively takes this. Hey guys, Milo's, dude, no, dude, come on, what are you doing? And then he fights it too. Milo's here. Let's see. So the compressor filter is set on the mic input. Yeah, you can also set it on the desktop input, whatever you want to stop it from going above. So the compressor input. Say this is your original audio right here, right? We'll smooth this curve out. This is your original audio. What a compressor will do this. And cut that down. That's what a compressor will do. It'll leave everything else alone down here, but it will compress this. And the higher the ratio, the more it's going to squeeze this down. If you set a maximum ratio, you're just going to have a flat line at the top. So you're going to lose, the problem with that is you're going to lose some definition at the top. So you don't want the compressor to be like that. If you want to keep your definition and keep it on a lower level, what I would recommend is you take your threshold and you drop your threshold way down, way down. And then you can adjust everything from here. You can keep your definition. You can keep your definition like this. But say you want to get to a final volume up here. Say you want to get to a final volume up here. What you do then is you apply some gain to take this and move this entire thing up. So you have that definition still, but instead of acting right there, you have this little bit of definition there. So that's what the gain will do afterwards, and we'll look into that a little bit as well. So it's a volume knob after you've done your compression. Yeah, so that's how a compressor works. So let's get back into this now. Filters. So that's how a compressor works. Now, what you can do is you can see I have one labeled here, compressor, minus 6 decibel limiter. So I have a limiter on my stream as well. I have a built-in compressor, hardware compressor on my mixer. So it's working really well. But what I want is, no matter how loud I yell, I don't want it to go above 6, 5, somewhere in there, right? So what I've done is I've maxed out my ratio. I put my threshold to 6. So basically, in the odd chance that I do get up to 6, I don't care if I'm losing definition. I just want to protect my viewers' ears, right? I want to protect the ears of the people who are watching, and I just don't want anything to hit this. This isn't the line in the sound. This is a brick wall that I don't want the sound to pass, the volume to pass. So I set my threshold at minus 6. I set my ratio at 32, and that way, nothing goes past that. No matter how loud I get, I'm not blowing out the ears. It's still to the point where I can get extremely loud and people aren't taking their headphones, ripping them out, throwing them off, and I'm following because I'm loud as hell. So that's what I have right there for my limiter, which limits the volume that goes out. Now let's talk about the other parts of the compressor right here. The attack speed, the release speed. Well, the attack speed is how quickly the compressor reacts to the input. Now, when you're talking about drums, you're talking about a snare or a hi-hat, something like that. You want that initial, you want that little bit of a hit, and then you want it to fade out, and that's what the attack is. If you set the attack up to 100 milliseconds, whatever it is, on say drums, you get that sharp little on the snare or the initial hit on the drum, but then it gets quiet, so it doesn't hurt you. It's just that initial little hit, so it adds some feeling to it. But when you're talking about voice and whatnot, you don't want the voice when all of a sudden someone screams or something like that. You don't want that. You want to remove that generally. And so you set your attack right down, so within 1 millisecond, it's active. It's doing its job as a compressor. And the release is how quickly it sets it to normal. Now, what I recommend if you're using vocal, set your release down. I wouldn't zero it out 1 millisecond. I'd give it a little bit of time. But what's going to happen otherwise is if you're talking really loud, and then immediately afterwards, without taking the breath, really loud, and then you get quiet like this right away. You want it to respond immediately so that you can hear it all, right? And then the output gain, like I said, this is the volume knob after you've done all your work. If you go, well, you know what, I've adjusted it, it sounds good, it doesn't get too loud, too quiet, but the problem is overall it's way too quiet. And the output gain is just gonna go brrrr and lift that whole thing up. So with the output gain, it's gonna take this and it's just gonna go brrrr, move this whole thing up. So your lows are gonna be louder, your highs are gonna be louder, everything's gonna be louder.
Subscriber!
What?
Subscriber!
Who do we got? Who's coming? Oh, I love that so much. Ben Raging, thank you so much for that sub. Nice, 288 gifting the sub to Ben Raging. Nice, 288, you're absolutely awesome, man. Thank you so much for that gifted sub. Ben Raging, congratulations. You have just been gifted a sub. Nice, 288, thank you so much, buddy. Absolutely amazing. So, Ben Raging, you get to choose what you want to finish off the sub. You can choose ketchup, mayo, or engine grease. What do you want as a condiment on that sub? What do you want on that sub? Ketchup, mayo, or engine grease? Let me know. We'll put it on there. And it's the last part of the sub. So we're going to eat this sub now. We're going to have to eat this sub. It's got to be cheese. Well, we already got cheese on there. So it's ketchup, mayo, or engine grease. Can we have a normal sub? The last two have been... The last one, I think, was knives. Wasn't it nails, sock, and grease? Like, that was all the worst parts, but it tasted not too bad. I mean, I barely threw up. It was pretty good. It was pretty damn good. So, yeah, Ben Raging, what would you like to see? Engine grease. And there we go. There goes our hopes of a normal sub. And here we go in here. Oh yeah, we got our sub eating music. Chicken, cheese, engine grease. Damn it, Callahorn! Again! Jeez, Callahorn, come on! You always do that. You just wait for it. Oh yeah, you know what? We just turned the bass up. Oh yeah, we're having our chicken, cheese, and engine grease. Ooh, it's gonna be good. Let's go ahead and eat this sub now. Yeah, you like that, don't you? Oh yeah. Hum. Sub! Thank you so much for the support. You're absolutely amazing. You guys rock. Let's reset this sub. Put it back to 0. We're going to head back in. We're going to talk about the audio, the little bit that we have left. And we're going to talk about plugins next. Thank you so much, 9288, for the gifted sub. Freaking massive supporter. Thank you so much, Nice. Let's get back into this here. Let's let's get back into it. Hold on 1 second. There we go. There we go. Okay, so we were talking about how the gain works, everything like that. Let's get back into OBS. Beep-doop. So filters. We did the compressor. We did the noise gate. What else do you have here? You have noise suppression. So this will get... This... How does the noise suppression work again? I haven't used this recently. Let's do a little bit of a test. Put a little bit down. Okay, so it almost looks like a... I'm not sure why that's not working. Noise suppression, I gotta look into that one a little bit more. You know what? I've never found a use for it, to be honest. Reason being is because I use this. I use a V2 plugin, and I'm gonna say, guys, get this free plugin and use this instead. And you want to see how damn cool this is? You want to see how damn cool this is? This is how cool this is. Like, look at this. This here. Right there. Yellow is what's coming through my microphone, coming through my mixer right now. So that's right there. The red is my room noise. So anytime the yellow goes below this red, it's cut out. It's turned off. So basically, if you take this whole section on the bottom here, this whole section is cut out because there's all that noise there. So the volume for all this is dropped right down. So that you don't hear my fan that's going full freaking speed right now. You don't hear that going. And this is a reefer plugin. I will provide the link in the final video in the description and whatnot. Actually, right now let's go Reaper. Copy link. Here it is right here. For Windows 10 64-bit, there it is right there. No, unfortunately, this gets rid of the gray noise in the background. It doesn't get rid of the clicking. Clicking is it's an active thing that's happening. Even noise-canceling headphones, you're not going to get rid of the clicking really that well. I mean, noise-canceling headphones are pretty damn good, but it's not that quick. The problem is that software can't really distinguish what it should hear and what it shouldn't hear. So if it's picking up sound from the microphone, it doesn't know that, it can't tell that the clacking is the keys and it's not you talking. So that's one problem you're going to run into. What it will get rid of is it will get rid of the fan on your desk. It'll get rid of your PC sound. It'll get rid of the heater in the background. It'll get rid of all the other things. But you can hear, even with mine, listen to this. You guys might hear the tick-tock in the background of my clock. That's not going anywhere. So, right there.
Oh yeah, it's claptrap time! Oh yeah, time for claptrap! And you can see the volume goes up quite a bit more when I do claptrap. But the limiter still helps out, so it's not too incredibly bad. It's not like your ears will bleed and you will die a horrible and painful death. Who brought that in? Humbucker! Humbucker, I thought you hated claptrap! Aw, I knew you loved me!
Anyways, so I highly recommend you look into this. This is the refer part of that plugin pack that I just sent, just put in the chat there. This is the refer. So what you do is you set mode to subtract, and it takes the room noise away from your overall result. So just think of it as basically cutting that chunk out and only paying attention to what's between the red and the yellow line. Gets rid of the volume there, drops down. So right here, this sequence right here drops it by that much. So what is there?
Yay!
Thank you so much for that. Nice, 2 and 8. Thank you for the mini bitties. Don't tell my ears what to do. They will bleed if they want. I apologize. If you want, you can crank the volume right up and do that. That'll work well. Anyway, so those are the main ones, and also you have gain in here. But if you're using a compressor, don't add a separate gain command because you have it right here. Now, sidechain, ducking source. This is really important. This was recently added in the latest OBS update. And what does it do? Well, basically, it will apply a compressor if the other source is active. So what you would do, for example, what you would do then is with desktop audio, you could have it so desktop audio, say you're playing your game and the game is really loud and you want it to be loud, but you have trouble talking over the game. You can hardly hear your voice, but you don't want to yell. You don't want to say anything anymore. So what you'll do is you go into desktop audio, filters, add a compressor here. I didn't realize I had gain on desktop audio. I can actually get rid of that because I can hear it all on my headset anyways. So you can add a compressor, boop, and you can go keep your ratio at 10:1, or you can even crank it up to 30:1, whatever you want, a really high ratio, and drop your threshold down. So we'll go down to 30, ratio, we'll leave it at 10, and we go like this. Okay, mixer input, there's my mic. So whenever I talk, let's go ahead and we'll get a YouTube video going. Actually, that's not going to work because it runs through my mixer. That's not going to work the way I want it to because it's running through my mixer. So it's hard for me to actually show you how this works. Let me try something here. Yeah, I'm going to actually have to set up a different video for this because of the way my mixer's set up. It actually makes it so this is completely irrelevant to me. But we'll go into filters here. You have your compressor. I'll walk you through how it works. Same idea. It will cut the volume down and it'll drop it right down to say minus 30 decibels. Look at where your microphone sits. If you're talking and you're at like minus 15, you're going to want to go, okay, well, I want my desktop audio to go down to minus 30 as I'm talking, so that I don't have to raise my voice during a scene where there's tons of gunshots versus a cut scene where it's really quiet talking, right? So what you can do is have it so that it cuts it right down, say, okay, here's my microphone source. We're going to cut this desktop audio down while this source is going. And it's the same thing, attack, release, all of that's exactly the same as with the regular compressor. All it does is it only applies that compressor based on whether or not another source is active. So that is it for today. I think we've covered most of the common issues with audio, but let's roundtable it. I'm a little bit over scheduled today, but let's kind of roundtable. Guys, what do you want to hear? Is there anything else you want to cover today? McKenna 2017, thank you so much for that follow. You are 32 kinds of awesome, just like Bob Ross. If there's anything else you guys want to cover regarding audio, let me know. Ask a question now. You can also ask it in the Crashpad Discord in the Help Me channel. Is it called Help Me? What the hell did I call that channel? It's called something. I don't know what it's called. Ask for help. If you guys have a question, you can ask it in the Crashpad Discord. You can head over there. You can ask it in the Team MZ Discord if you're a Team MZ member. There is a technical help channel there as well. But anything else you want right now, feel free to ask. We got a couple minutes. I still have coffee left, so yeah. But I think that is basically it. I think that's basically it for today. Guys, thank you so much for swinging by. And what we're going to do, setting up music streams. Okay, so what aspect do you want to know about setting it up? Setting up a music stream is exactly the same from an audio perspective and a setup perspective as setting up a vocal or a gaming stream, generally. There's not really much to change about it. One sec. Yeah, cat hair on the mic or on the camera. So what part do you want to set up? Just volumes and whatnot? Because that would be using all the exact same stuff that we're using now, or that we went through just now. But just want to know how to set up in general. You just set it up exactly the same way as this. There's no difference between music stream and this, what we just talked about, and setting up a regular stream. The OBS and Twitch and whatnot don't care about where your sound comes from. They just care how it's processed, and you process it all the same way. I don't know if you sing in the shower, it may imply some different logistics. Possibly, Ogre. Possibly. Yeah, humbucker, it's the exact same things. It's exactly the same. OBS doesn't care what's making the noise. It just wants to know how to process it. So it's set up the exact same way. Okay, and with that, guys, we are done for the day. Well, not for the day, but we're done for this morning, and we will be back tonight for a mute stream. Guys, I wanna plug something. We are actually going to be this Saturday. We are doing a fundraiser for the. Why am I having a brain fart? Why am I doing this? Sorry, guys. There we go. So, this weekend, we are going to be doing a fundraiser for the Canadian Cancer Society. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be raising money. It's going to be Trixie and I dual streaming this Saturday starting at 8 a.m. Pacific. And we're going to be raising money and donating it in honor of Patrick Schrader's father, who is currently battling cancer. So, guys, if you can spread the word, you can help it out. It is my pinned tweet. Let me grab that pinned tweet right now. Let me grab that pinned tweet. Yes, 79, how are you? There we go. Copy link to tweet. If you can share this, guys, if you can spread the word, we are raising money for the Canadian Cancer Society, and we're going to be donating it in honor of Patrick Schrader's father, who is currently battling cancer. Not a lot we can directly do for Patrick's family at this point in time, but doesn't mean we can't do anything. Let's help. Let's get some money towards cancer research. We'll do it in honor of. We're doing it in honor of Patrick's father. And so if you can join us this Saturday, if you can spread the word, you can do anything to help, it would be much appreciated. That's happening this Saturday, starting at 8 a.m. Pacific, both here and on Trixie's channel simultaneously. So, if you guys don't know, I mean, Patrick Schrader is absolutely amazing. He's an amazing supporter, just an amazing dude. It's a real pleasure, real honor to know him. He's ultra supportive, just a great guy, and I mean, we want to, of course, do something for him and his family. And unfortunately, there's not, like I said, there's not really anything we can do for his family, but we can do this in honor of his father and hopefully help prevent this from happening to other families in the future. Do what we can to help prevent it. Yeah, we love Pat. Patrick's is freaking awesome. And guys, that is it. It is time to go. So let's do what we always do at the end of every single stream. We're going to drop a host bomb. That's right, guys. We're going to find somebody in the community, somebody to love, and we're going to drop a host bomb on them. So we're going to go twitch.tv/community/crashpad. Going to find someone who's live. And there is Trixie right now. Street Tiger. Accidental Genius. Bum, bada, bum. Let's go on to same kind of thing here. I did recently drop something on Trixie. Trixie's awesome. So this is who we're going to be. I'm going to be streaming with this Saturday as well. Let's go into following. See who we're following here. Bam, 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 bam. Oh, here we go. I have not dropped a host bomb on Mr. Hanky before. His band is one of the bands in the CrashPad music service. So let's go over here. Let's drop a host bomb on Mr. Hanky. I've never dropped a host bomb before. Let's see. I will be there, mate. Awesome. Thanks, Humbucker. Dropping that bomb. Guys, so we're dropping it on Mr. Hanky. So when we get over there, I want you all to say, crashing this party in all caps. Tons of exclamation marks, and spam those emotes. If you have crash emotes, go ahead and use them. If you don't worry. Or even if you do have them and you don't want to use them, that's fine too. Do whatever you want. Just spam some emotes. Just show some love. So we're going to go in there. We're going to spam for the first 30 seconds to a minute. And then we're going to have a meaningful conversation. We're going to get to know the guy. And if you like what you see, smack that follow button. All right? Sound good? Sounds great. So there we go. That's where we're at. Let's mute him for a second. talking over me and shit. Okay, guys, I'm a member of E-Rocks Gaming Group, an amazing group of gamers, content creators, and streamers. You guys can check them out at erocksgaming.com. I'm, of course, a proud leader of Team Mems. We have all kinds of programs and services to help you and your stream grow. Remember, guys, they're just tools that we provide. You have to still do the work. We're not going to carry you. And, of course, I am part of the amazing Crashpad Discord. The amazing Crashpad. The Crashpad community. We have the Crashpad Discord, Crashpad Twitch community, Crashpad hashtag on Twitter, Crashpad community on Steam, Crashpad Extra Life Team, where we all work together to raise money for sick kids. All the money we raise through our Extra Life Team goes directly to the Children's Miracle Network. So, guys, please help us. If you guys, you don't have to donate money for that. All you have to do is throw a banner on your Twitch page, join the Extra Life Team for free. You don't have to do anything. Just set up a profile, join it for free at that link that you see right there. Put a banner on your Twitch page and give them the option to donate to charity. Just put it there, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If you want to have a charity stream dedicated to that, or you want to do more, that's awesome as well. But let's help sick kids. My brother is alive because of the Children's Miracle Network and the and all that. So that is where I sit. I mean, not my money, but the money I raised for Extra Life goes to the BC Children's Hospital that saved my brother's life. And, of course, we have the Crashpad merch store. Part of the money goes to charity. The rest of it goes to improving the stream. That's where we sit. That's how it goes. That's how it is. If this stream made you feel warm and fuzzy inside, go and show that follow button some love. You can follow me on Twitter, Crush Coke, and you can check out some of my videos on YouTube. I'm going to head to work now, but we're going to go visit Mr. Hanky first, and we're going to have a little bit of fun in that chat. We're going to light it up. Sound good? Sound great. Thanks for watching, and always remember, the key to happiness is